Now, as you've seen, our guest today is the actress and disability campaigner, best known for her films and, of course, that cheeky chocolate advert. But today, Samantha Renke is here with an important message, one that we take very seriously on Loose Women as well, and that is about why we all need to face our smear test. As you know, we've done our Face Your Smear campaign, which so many of you got involved with. Samantha, lovely to see you,
Hi,
first
nice
of
to
all.
be back.
Always good to have you with us, but why is this something that you feel so strongly about that you want to talk about it on television?
So going for a smear is not always a pleasant experience, and particularly when you have a disability, it can be quite traumatic and just not practical when you have a disability. And I found out through the Joe's Trust, which is a cervical cancer trust, that they said that 88% of disabled women just don't go for smear tests, which I found really shocking. I went for a smear. I had to take someone with me because obviously the GPs don't have hoists.
Yeah.
You know, I can have like muscle spasms. You know, they should have offered things like muscle relaxants. That wasn't offered to me. I then got diagnosed with HPV. Now, it's very common. 4 out of 5 women have HPV.
What exactly is HPV? I felt very ignorant that I'm not very
well, listen,
familiar with
if
this
I could bring...
condition.
Well, we've got Dr Catherine Millington-Sanders with us today, so this is a good time to bring you in, Dr
What does it stand for?
What does HPV stand for, and what is it?
So human papilloma virus is what it stands for, and it's a really common type of virus. So you've said 4 out of 5 people will have it in their lifetime. There are over 200 types. They're basically all given a little number. Around 15 of those types are the ones that are known to be linked with cancer-causing cells of the cervix.
Right, so which sounds scary, OK? So if you get a letter, which you did, after your smear saying, we think you've got HPV, that sounds like a very frightening thing. Should women be scared when they receive that news?
Well, actually, it's really good news that you've been able to pick that up as HPV positive. There are a couple of different options. So if you bear with me, there will be... first option is you are part of the 94 out of 100 women that actually have a normal smear that don't have HPV. But there will be, therefore, some women that have HPV, and then you're classed as... If you're HPV positive, you've basically got a couple of options. You might then go on to have normal cells. Then you just get a normal 1-yearly recall for a couple of years. If you have HPV positive and you have abnormal cells, that can either be low-grade or borderline changes. And if you've got those, then you'll be asked to be seen in the colposcopy clinic within 6 weeks.
Is it something like the herpes virus that is sexually transmitted? Do we know that?
Yes, you're completely right.
It doesn't have to be sexually transmitted, though, does it?
No, this is what I thought. I thought, my goodness, what have I done? Was I not careful? But actually, it can be passed on through any kind of touching, yeah. You know, so I was really panicked. I did have to go for a colposcopy, say that 3 times fast. And because...
Is that where they scrape?
Yeah.
They take some cells.
They take some cells. They put a dye in to see whether there's any abnormal cells. Again, because of my disability, they didn't have the provisions for me. So after half an hour of prodding and probing, I got sent away, and I didn't get returned to the hospital until 6 months later.
No.
So I had to wait with the anxiety of thinking, have I potentially got cervical cancer?
I think this is a real misconception, because I had a similar experience. Obviously, I'm not disabled, so I didn't go through those things. However, I did get a similar letter and then asked to attend another appointment. And I think that, unfortunately, it's not explained and we're not educated properly on what HPV is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if... Correct me if I'm wrong, but... from all of the research I've done and all of the doctors I've spoken to, it's a very slow progressing virus. Just because you have HPV, even, you know, whatever grade it is, doesn't mean that tomorrow your cells are going to change and that they're going to...
And your letter said abnormal cells, didn't
abnormal
it?
cells.
Which is scary.
Yeah.
So when you get that letter, Catherine, don't be unduly alarmed to start with, but you must make sure you go back. They're saying that the rates of cervical cancer among women aged 25 to 29 have increased by 54% over the last 10 years.
Gosh, that's a lot.
Is that because those young women aren't going for their smear tests?
A huge reduction in the number of people over the last 20 years. We've seen some of the biggest increases in cervical cancer. 3,000 women have cervical cancers each year, and that's 9 people every day, and there are 850 deaths circa every year. So it's a really important
topic. Which could be prevented with early detection.
99% are completely preventable, and the key thing is it's really treatable. So actually, when you get, you know, it's a myth that this is something that is taboo now and not to be talked about. about, although lots of people do have shame and embarrassment, and it's
Do you
a
think
real shame.
that maybe possibly the age for a smear test should come down on the NHS? If people are sexually active 10 years prior to 25, which is possible, to wait then till 25 could be a reason why perhaps there are a lot more cases happening.
So the National Screening Programme, for everybody watching, is it's 25 to 64. So the most common age actually is 25 to 29. That's when you're peaking. These are for women that actually don't have symptoms as a screening programme. But actually, if you do have symptoms, that's completely different, and you should be looking to see your GP at whatever age you actually are.
And Samantha,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that. Samantha, women with disabilities then, we don't want to obviously discourage them or say, you know, the facilities aren't there. So what would you say to a woman who's got a disability? How would you encourage her to go and get a smear test?
You know, you need to be proactive. I think a lot of GPs feel awkward around disability. And of course, disabled women don't have sex. Shock horror. We do. You know, and I quite enjoy it. It's great. So I think it needs to be a communication with the GP. If you have a disability, unfortunately, you might have to make the first step to contact your GP and say, look, these are the things that I need, the provisions that I need. Can I bring a PA along with me? Have you got a hoist? You know, we need better education. We need GPs to understand the needs of disabled people in general.
And I suppose, yeah.
So phone ahead.
Phone ahead. Samantha, thank you. Always lovely to see you. Samantha Renke, everybody. Also, thank you to Dr. Catherine McMillington-Sanders for that really important information. Again, lots more information on our website, should you need it. I know that with Joe's Trust, you're doing the Smear for Smear campaign, and we, of course, continue our Face Your Smear campaign. Still to come, we're asking, is snoring ruining your relationship? It is for Denise. We'll be telling you why a pineapple could be the solution. It's true, it's scientific. Doing that right after this.